Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Wiegmann. We have Wayne and Candice here. They're from the Urban American Outdoors. Excited to have them. We were blessed actually to have to listen to them at the Missouri Outdoor Communicators Conference. They were one of the featured speakers, and so great stories. So they cut you short on time. I'm not going to cut you short on time, so I'll stop talking. Tell us about what you do.
Well, I'm Wayne Hubbard. I am the co-founder of Urban American Outdoors, and this is Candice Price.
Yep.
And what's really cool, we created Urban American Outdoors in 1998. Basically, what we were doing was we wanted to engage diverse audience to look at outdoors. And as being coming from a sportsman family, coming from a family that did outdoors, one of the things that we saw is that we didn't see anyone that looked like us in this space.
Right.
When you saw media and print. So we created Urban American Outdoors to show positive images of people of color in the outdoors. And it just took off. It was amazing to realize that there were a lot of people that were doing outdoor activities but wasn't being seen. Right. So that's what we did. We just really engaged in that space. Yeah. So anything else you want to put in there, Ken?
Well, I mean, that's how it started. We had communities that were interested in connecting to nature.
Right.
And so we created and took it to where they were at and started, and it just took off.
So you were based out of where?
Out of Kansas City.
Okay.
And so what ended up happening, we thought that we were going to just do a local show. I had really reached out to Candice at the time, and so I was like, hey, I'm interested in doing this show. The problem is I knew I hunted and fished, and my family did, but there was no representation. So we got together, put together a pilot. And we put this pilot together, and we had talked with the regional, but Candice, who had been in media, said, let me send it to some of my friends. And so she mailed it off on Monday. On Wednesday, we had 3 offers for national distribution. 6 weeks later, we were on across the country, and then it was about 6 weeks later. After that point, we had been invited to the National Sports Emmys in New York, and it just rocked it.
Right.
And what we found out was there was a need. It was an amazing need for this space and place, because people are saying, I just didn't see us in this space. Right. And it just, again, it took off, and it had legs. It really had legs. With the show, we did a variety of outdoor things, from hunting, fishing, hiking, scuba diving. But what also happened was we created a cooking show. And that cooking show turned into Urban So Wow. So a lot of people say catch and release. I say catch and cook.
There you go.
Yes. And how it started, one of the things that took place when Wayne said he wanted to put this show together. Well, I had a TV background. He was working in marketing. And so we actually took this show, and the cameras that we used were for prosumer. It's for pros. And a lot of the outdoor shows that we were seeing were done with, it was consumer cameras or whatever. So it was a really big difference that when our show came out, we were doing it from broadcast quality. And so I think that's what was separating, it was separating.
Yeah. And also one of the other things, too, when you talk about what we do, traditionally when you saw outdoor shows, and even some times today, you see outdoor experiences. Right. They're geared on what they catch. What we're geared on, the experience, the life experience. Right. And with our stuff, we do outdoor culture. So we talk about, of course, fishing, hunting, and doing these experiences, but we also go and take that community and talk about history and talk about how is it relevant for us in this space. And us, I always say this to people, outdoors doesn't see color.
Right.
We do.
Right.
Exactly.
We do.
Right.
So we have to bridge this experience. And that in itself is important. That in itself is important, because one day we might not have this if people don't know it's relevant for themselves. Right. People, and so, a lot of times when I talk to individuals, people in communities that don't do it, and it's like, why is it relevant? I said, do you have clean water? It's as simple as water. and people go like, "Oh my God, this is amazing that someone can break it down into a narrative that that anyone can look at," and that's really the powerful thing.
So tell us about one of the events that you put on and what happened there. So do you have a future one that you can tell us about too, that maybe is in the next 10
we're
months
actually
within the
planning.
next year?
Yeah, we're planning right now. The calls have been coming in because over the last couple of years we had because of the pandemic, a lot of the events that we would do, we had to postpone and try to do, what was safe or whatever. So coming up, we have one in June. Well, actually, 2 or 3 in June. It's going to be the one that we do every year in Kansas City, Missouri. It's Juneteenth weekend. It's Juneteenth Father's Day weekend, and we've been doing that one there for since 2005. You think?
Yeah. So what the events that they are? We do an event called Urban Kids Fish. And we do a Field of Dream experience. So what we do is we had a lot of community that said, hey, we wanted to go fishing, but we didn't feel like there was a safe space for us to be in this. So we created safe space in the community. So we'd go find a lake, a pond, and we would stock it. And then we would because we built it and they would show up. And so we would bring fishing rods, scientists, biologists into this space. And our goal is not only to get these kids to look at fishing and the families to look at fishing, but I want them to look at career opportunities. I want them to be the next scientist. I want them to look at be the next conservation agent or be the next communicator like what we're at today.
Right.
That's really what this is about. And if we can make it in a safe space, because even if a kid wants to do fishing, even if they want to do fishing, if mom, dad, or grandma or the guardian don't like it, it ain't happening. So we have to make it generational. And so we've had experiences where we went from 91, we've had people from 91 to 2 years old.
Wow.
Like that. And our events usually are anywhere from 250 to, our largest one is 1,500 kids that we take fishing.
So do they sign up for this event, and is there a cost?
They sign up, and our events are free.
Okay.
So our events, we do everything from Kansas City to we do one on the Washington Mall in D.C. Wow. And again, the goal is to create fishing with a purpose.
Right.
That's really what it's about. Our thing is, if they come and experience, then they can advocate for it, or they can look at being a steward for it. And if anyone comes and says that they want to take away from and vote it away, they know why it's relevant.
Right. Yep.
That's the main thing. Yeah.
So what if they show up and don't have a fishing pole? That seems like an issue.
No, we supply
there you go.
Everything. We do all the heavy lifting.
We supply the poles, the bait. We stock it ourselves.
So do you stock it? You work with the natural resource department?
We work with natural resource.
The state.
Yeah, we work with the state.
You're at.
But we also
it depends on which different states. Everybody has something different. So we have fish hatcheries that we work with.
Oh, good.
And sometimes, the federal government, with their different departments.
But sometimes we've
done it ourselves.
Sometimes we pay for it. Like we do one downtown L.A.
Right.
And in downtown L.A., I always tell a person, the same place where Snoop Dogg did his video, we do a fishing derby. Yes. And we have celebrities come. Stevie Wonder sends his radio station out to be engaged in, and they'll come out and support us. We have entertainers bring their kids out. And our events are like the UN. Everyone shows up and has a good time at the table.
It's full inclusion. Everybody's invited, and they feel welcome, safe space. It's a lovely event. It's like a family reunion, and everybody helps one another.
So can tell us the most moving moment you've ever had since you started it. There has to be one that sticks out, maybe a family or
it's really it's a lot. It's every place.
I'll give you one. Yeah. There was a young man that wanted to kill himself, and he came to our derby, and his guardian said the reason that he did it, he ended up winning the grand prize.
Yeah.
And he was suicidal, and they brought him there at that. And they called us, and it was kind of crazy. They emailed us and called us and thanked us for this, and it changed his outlook. And now all he wants to do is engage outdoors and experience.
He's thriving.
And he's thriving off of a simple experience of someone saying that we care and we want to give you something that you can keep forever. And that's one thing to this day really sticks to my heart, that you could have a grandmother call, and she is so emotional because they were worried about him. He had been talking about the suicidal, and now he's thriving. Now he's on his way to college. Imagine doing something that changed a life.
But we've also had the mothers who came and their kids on several occasions who are autistic. And they called and they asked, can I bring my child? He's autistic. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, what's the big deal? You know, and then they tell me that you'd be surprised. A lot of places will not let them bring their children. Really? Yeah, their special need children. I said, we're full inclusion. Bring them.
Right. And several of our events will donate and give away up to 200 fishing poles to the kids. Our goal is we want to take the negative out of the experience.
Right.
You know, growing up, you know, I was blessed to be able to get out there and enjoy nature, and I didn't have those problems. So for me, God has blessed me to give back. So if I'm able to do something as simple as taking a cow fishing, and it's going to change their life, who am I to be behooved not to do that? And so we've just been blessed to be able to have opportunities to do that. And we give out rods. Usually our derbies are different than any other thing that you've ever seen.
How's your derbies?
Our derbies are different.
They are.
All right.
When you come to our event, there is music.
Right.
There is food. There are booths, and it is a fishing contest. So we have a prize for a prize for the biggest fish, the smallest fish, and the top in between. So we have. And some kids are trying to catch the smallest fish. Right. Some kids are trying to catch the biggest fish, and then in between. But also at our events, we have those biologists that go there and tell them about the science. Right. We have people, landscape architects, to tell them about the pond and how the water,
they talk about watersheds.
Watersheds.
You know.
We also have individuals there to engage the parents. Right. And so what happens in our experiences is I don't know who has more fun, the kids or the parents, because the parents are doing the same thing too. Right. So we keep it that inclusion. One of the other experiences about our derbies is with it being so included. We have everyone there. Everyone's enjoying this experience. You know, I used to tell people, you cannot segregate outreach. Right. And so with our stuff, everyone feeds at the table. That's real talk.
So you have the tournaments, and then you have a cooking show. And is there anything else that goes along with this?
Okay, so what's really cool is we have Urban American Outdoors, which is the outdoor lifestyle show.
Okay.
Then we have,
and that's on a channel then?
That's you can see that on television. Look at your local listing.
All right.
And it's syndicated. Then we have Urban So Wow, which is the cooking show. And so Urban So Wow is we catch it and we cook it. That's the part. Right. So we'll go out and catch food. But also then we have fishing derbies, but we also have fishing camps. So the fishing camps are small clinics. So we've done fishing camps with the Kansas City Chiefs came out. And we did special camps with the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's cool.
And so we did a whole but when you think about the Chiefs, I always tell you have a celebrity show up or a football player, you have one, right? They usually have two. We had the president, the general manager, 8 players, and their families show up, and we did a whole experience around that. Right. We also have NASCAR brings their pace car out to our fishing derby.
Have you ever got to driven the pace car or not?
Yeah.
He actually started. He started
I
the
actually
race.
started.
Really?
I started. If you go and look at on my social media, I started a green flag started. So I'm really, again, what we do is outdoor lifestyle.
Right.
And it is, for me, it is important for all of us to be seen in this space. Some people say, well, I don't see anyone. I said, we recreate. We just don't recreate with you. So we need to make sure that we recreate together.
Exactly.
And that's really, really super, super important.
Yep.
Also, what's been really positive for me is with the work that I've been doing, I've been blessed to be appointed to several advisory committees. So I've sat on the Wildlife Hunting Heritage Conservation Council, which I was appointed by it was Secretary Jewell and Secretary Vilsack at the time, and was appointed to the council. And the council is 18 national leaders, and I was appointed to go out there and talk about underserved communities and diversity in that space. And being able to sit at that table is really powerful. To be able to sit at that table and talk about opportunities in communities that sometimes are overlooked.
Right.
Or the biggest problem that we have is we're talking about communication, me and you right now.
Right.
Sometimes we could be talking the same language and saying the same thing, but being split apart. With me, what's been really a blessing, and with Candice has been a blessing, is that we have figured out how to talk to the traditional sportsman,
right, and
that non-traditional sportsman. So instead of me talking at him, I'm talking to him.
Right.
And that's what makes the difference. In fishing terms, because we're talking fishing, right?
That's right.
We're talking fishing right now. I'm just using the right bait.
That's right.
That's what I'm using. So that's what we do. I believe one of the most important things is like what we're doing here, sitting together, engaging this experience. Because I can come back, a lot of everything right now is so polar. So just sitting down talking about this is going to change someone's life.
Yep, hopefully.
Oh, absolutely.
I think so.
That's the goal.
I think it will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I also was on a federal advisory committee, and it was the one for the U.S. Forest Service. So it was the planning rule that they did, and that is they manage 193 million acres of land.
Wow.
And that's where a lot of our water comes and in different agriculture. So I was on that, and I represented underserved communities and youth. And this is the first time they had a youth component on there. So we came up with, a lot of the fishing things came up and a lot of hunting things that hadn't come up before. And we put that in the planning rule. And so it got passed on.
And I got to say this to you also, because this is important. As important as it is the work that we're doing out there, it is as important that we're talking to individuals like you that's going to have an audience that will see us together talking about this. Right. Typically, when you talk about issues of today, we are talking about a problem. We're talking about success right here.
Exactly.
We're talking about how do we make things better, and the machine is working.
Right.
And what I like about it is none of us has complained sitting at this table.
No.
It's a win.
Pretty blessed.
It's a win. It's a win. And so that's kind of what we do. So I know there's more that we could talk about, but I just want to thank you for giving us this platform to be able to say if you guys want to go out and fish and engage this experience, reach out. We make things happen.
There you go. That takes us to Tackle Time. Tackle Time is sponsored by PICO Lures. PICO Lures makes a complete line of hard baits and soft baits. You can check them out at picolures.com. And you know what? If they want to find out more about you guys and see what's happening, where would they go? Where can they find you? Social media?
I always tell people, you can find the brothers out. I'm just kidding. You can go to Urban American, UAOTV.com.
Okay.
Or you can also look us up on social media, Urban American Outdoors or UAO TV on your social media.
Facebook. Definitely on Facebook. Wayne Hubbard has a nice Facebook, Candice Price, and Urban American Outdoors.
TV show has a Facebook. So you can and then you can also find us on Twitter.
All right.
Too. So other than that, get the grease hot.
There you go. Hey, that's good stuff. Appreciate you being on the show. It's great to show that, there's so many things that's out there if you're fishing, and we can be a community and we can do something and we can make a difference in someone's life. That's the whole goal.
Yes.
Get more people fishing, get people together, get them to experience the situation and be a community, and we can go so much farther than we can by ourselves.
Yes.
So
you make a difference, and it starts with one. And
That's right.
And we're one.
that's right. All right, so thanks again for being on the show. Like I always like to end the show, make sure you keep your hook sharp and your lures in the water.